Fairville.
What's going on, guys? It's Joe,
Hey, be nasty. How you
and
doing?
we are back again for our second episode. We think our first episode went pretty well, right?
Hey, yeah. You guys enjoyed it? You should have, because we got more content, a lot more content coming.
Absolutely, man. So we left off episode 1 talking about school and how we used to skip a ton and how, we kind of ended up, well, I ended up at least not really going back to John Marshall, not finishing my high school education. So a caveat to that is I kind of, instead of going to John Marshall, I went to ECOT, which is the electronic classroom of tomorrow. And I think it had just came out right around the time that I stopped going to John Marshall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was very new. My grandparents were so scared to put me in there, man, because they're like, you don't even like doing schoolwork anyway. So what are you gonna do it even if you're at home? And I'm like, shit, maybe not. But
Yeah.
they put me in it finally, man. So
Yeah. I mean, I thought, at the time too, ECOT was something that you can work at your own pace. You can be structured in whatever you're trying to do, your own learning path and stuff like that. I personally didn't take it up because, my mom was not about to go through that. She's like, hey, your ass is going to school.
Right.
So I didn't take the same route, but we will go down, our routes of education in high school.
Yeah, ECOT, man, it was crazy because, back in the day, we didn't have flat laptops. We didn't have, those nice ass computers that you can fold in half and shit and use them as a tablet.
Yeah.
The ECOT sent me this brick of a computer, bro. It showed up in this giant refrigerator box. I'm like, what the fuck is this, bro? So I brought it in, cut the box open, and it's this massive computer, man. It's got this 2,000 pound monitor.
Jeez.
It's got this giant thing with floppy disks and shit, I'm like, what the fuck is this, dude? So I took it in the room, hooked him up, and you literally couldn't do nothing else but ECOT on there, bro. It's yeah, I mean, kind of, not for me if I want to do something else,
Yeah.
So you double click on this little thing and it takes you into the classroom, and there's all your things in there, all your studies and your subjects and all this and that. And I'm like, I could tell just by looking at it, like, bro, I'm not doing this shit,
Hey. So what'd you do, man? How did you...
So...
Did you have, a schedule, how you did stuff?
No, man. So Grandma tried to put me on a schedule. She was like, hey, you're going to be in your room from this time to this time, and you're going to work on these subjects. So she kind of tried to set it up for me, man, but... Literally, when I went in there, I knew she wasn't going to come check on me, so I was just sleeping the whole time, bro.
Oh,
yeah,
so you're in the desk like
yeah,
this?
for real, I was in my bed, though.
You're in the bed?
I didn't have to hide in the rafters. I didn't have to fucking do nothing, man. So it was, I don't know, it was kind of crazy because I wasn't really thinking of what I was gonna do with my life or what was gonna happen if I didn't go to school.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
man, I'm cool right now. I'm
Yeah.
living in the house. Grandma paying the bills.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Good
all right,
kid.
well, shit, man, I should be all right. So yeah, I didn't really think about anything like that. I know. You said that you stayed in John Marshall. How was that for you?
Man, you know what? I'll tell you. I stayed in John Marshall, and it was fun. I mean, because I did have friends, but then you guys wasn't around, so I was like, man, I'm saying, I had to develop other different friends. But the thing was, I was still skipping school, so even when you were doing ECOT, I was coming knocking on the door like, hey, man, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I mean, school was different. You had 8, maybe 9 different classes and everything like that, and get into the transition of waking up and going to school and dealing with day-to-day life of things like that. I mean, I thought that, if I put more of my attention into school, maybe it'd be a lot better. And my mom would not let me not go to school. I'm like, yo, I don't want to go to school. She's like, what, you getting bullied? I'm like, I'm probably the bully when I'm at school. Like, I don't want to do it. So end up being, you know what I mean, I also got pushed back, you know, because of skipping. I probably skipped maybe, 200. I didn't do 300 plus days like you, but I did like 200 or something. And just barely, man. Grades wasn't that good. But then I also was like around really good people, you know, really around people that actually wanted to do something with their life and go to college. And I was like, oh, man, maybe, you know, that's something to do. And the whole time I'm talking to guidance counselors, and they're like, hey, your grades aren't good enough to do it. But I'm like, hey, I'm going to school. And they're like, you know what? Go to community college. And I was like, fuck community college. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody else does that, because you see, like, if you're in sports, you know, you see the major colleges and things like that. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to do that. You know, maybe I'll go to institution like ITT Tech.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, motherfuckers. You guys offered... You wanted me to pay $45,000 for 2 years, and your shit end up not being a credit and being under. You lied to me and my mother, all right? But that's another time at a different thing. But I do want to say, I mean, it was a good opportunity, a good experience within school. But if I didn't have like a really good girlfriend at the time to be able to help me out during that, to put me into that, like I probably wouldn't even did econ. I would just be like, forget it, man.
Right, just wipe it clean and be done with it.
Just be done, man. Be one of these, you know, people at that time working at McDonald's, you know, trying to pay the bills and having all these damn kids and young wet, you know, out of wedlock
kids, you know? And stuff. Yeah, you know, and that's another hard thing that was in our neighborhood. You know, we were constantly surrounded by like gang things. Shootings, bodies being found in dumpsters, and you know, you got to think about all that shit when you're going to school. You're traveling far away from where, like, you know, your home or wherever you feel safest at, and you're out in the public space, and you know, you just never know what's gonna happen, bro. So you're like always thinking, always looking behind your back, you know, especially when you get on the bus. You know, you got to worry about who's thinking what they're gonna do. If somebody's gonna try to do something to you, they like your shoes. You know what I mean? They might try to take your shoes off. You know, and run away with them or whatever they want to do.
Run away with your shoes.
Like, hold on.
I'm going to take your shoes. I'm going to take your shoes.
And then they just book it down the street with your shoes on, man, you know. So all of those things combined, you know, plus being fat, made me make my decision like early that, hey, man, school isn't for me. You know, just because it's not for me now, though, doesn't mean that I can't be successful in the future. Yeah. Right. And that's the whole narrative that they were trying to push. Everybody, parents, teachers, all that shit. Yeah. You don't go to school, you're gonna amount to nothing. You're not gonna do a thing with your life. You're gonna be living under a bridge. Blah 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 blah. And I mean, it's just not true.
No, it's not true at all. You know what would really life didn't hit me hard until like I got into was supposed to be my senior year. So my senior year. Was actually, you know what? It was my senior year. It's actually, I was supposed to be that senior year, but I was a junior. And when I seen all my classmates pass and graduate and walk across the aisle, and I remember I went for at the time my girlfriend's graduation, and I was sitting next to one of my favorite teachers, and I was like watching all my friends walk across the stage. And I had a tear in my eye. I was like, damn, everybody just lapped me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when you got that feeling that, like, everybody lapped you, you were like you were saying last episode, like, you got to work hard, you got to dig deep, you know? So I saw everybody, you know, that was in my class that was supposed to be 05. And I was like, damn, man, I'm 06. Now, mind you, I don't even know anybody. You know what I'm saying? I don't know these younger guys. I knew everybody my class and higher, you know what I'm saying? Right. And I was like, man, these dudes lapped me. And I was like, all right, do I got to go to summer school? Summer school, I couldn't graduate at that time. I was like, man, I got to go a whole nother year. So all my friends, boom, then you guys are econ. So I was sitting there, man, I'm like, man, I'm by myself. Right. But one thing about it, you have to have self-motivation, man. Yeah. You know, self-motivation, think about, like, what you're going to do, you know, because in this world, man, when you're in high school, that's when you are actually an adult at that time. Right. Mommy and daddy can save you a little bit, but once you're at a certain point, and it's over.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, and that stands true to me too. That rings true for sure. Because even moving back and forth between mom's and grandma and grandpa's house, and thousands of times like I did, I never at that time thought like, oh, okay, I may be screwed in the future. I never thought that, and it's literally a mindset, and they try to push their narrative and say, hey, if you don't go to school now, you're never gonna do this because you lack motivation now, you're going to lack motivation always. In the future, other things you try to do, anything you try to be successful at,
you quit now, you're always going to quit.
And you're going to be done, right?
Yeah.
Which clearly isn't true because we're in my house right now, right? So, I mean, you got to take everything with a grain of salt, especially people that are still in school. If you guys are listening, you just got to do what's best for you, even though, they may say that you're not of age or you don't understand how the world works or whatever. You got to figure out your own path, because ultimately, what you do in life is what you do in life, and that determines how successful or unsuccessful you're going to be. And just because you screw up along the way doesn't mean that you can't find your way back to greatness.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and you're a perfect advocate of that, man, from what you're doing and what you actually do in your present day and future. Joe, you're the man. You already know
baby.
it.
Hey.
They counted you out, man.
They did. They did.
They shouldn't have.
No, I'm telling you, bro.
They definitely shouldn't have, man.
Every single person that I talk to, see now or whatever, everybody. My mom, she doesn't think. I mean, I've had 2 houses, and I'm 32. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had 2 houses.
Yeah.
I graduated 4 times now.
Yeah.
I mean, shit like that's ridiculous to me, and it just sucks that you have to go through those beginning stages to kind of find out who you are and what you want to do. Because I honestly didn't find out what I wanted to do until like 2 months ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
a couple months ago,
Yeah.
And it's amazing for those people that know what they want to do from the beginning.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, as soon as they are 6 years old, I'm going to be a damn doctor.
Right.
And then from then on, that's their life goal. And then they become a doctor, and then they're like, holy shit, my path is done.
Yeah.
So it's easy for those people, and I congratulate them people, because it took me 32 years to find out what the hell I want to do, So, I mean, just with everything mixed in and all of the chaos that this world brings and all of our differences and things like that, you just have to find your place,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can choose your own success, I mean, some things people think of, they choose your success for you. You can be successful just because you're happy with yourself. There's a lot of people, even doctors, that are not actually happy.
Right.
And they probably think that they're not successful. And in my mind, I'm very successful.
Yeah.
I'm sure you are, and a lot of people that's even listening and watching understand that. You have to choose your own path and do what works best for you. Even if that success or that path is saying, hey, you know what? My golden years were in high school, and I ain't gonna ever be nothing more. But every damn day you think about how you were the man, how you were valedictorian, or how you were the star quarterback, or how you were had a group of friends. That happens. You have something to live on to because you have that. But your success is what your success is.
I just found the title of this episode, man.
What's that, man?
Choose your path, bro.
All right, let's do it.
All right, cool.
Let's do it.
So, basically what we're trying to say is, to choose your path. You don't have to choose it early. You have your entire life. Literally, you have your entire life to figure out what you want to do and how you want to make your life and what you want to do with yourself. So, it may be hard current time going through what you got to go through. But just remember, there's always there's always something else that you could do, and to prove yourself to not only yourself but to everybody else in your circle or around you.
Now, with us, how we grew up, we could have chosen so many paths.
There
were so many different paths, guys. You guys don't understand. I mean, just alone being around art, Artie. I mean, whatever path you want to do, man. I mean, we could have been different.
Yeah.
Just because of off of his tutelage and what we did. I mean, there's a lot of things that we used to do when we were kids.
Right. That
probably wouldn't have got us here. These 2 houses that you've had and the success that I have, things like that.
Right.
But just following the lead of Artie, you know what I mean? Different. I mean, there's probably stories you could say.
Yeah.
I mean, how many stories we could talk about of the white truck?
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Even before the white truck, there's a red truck. Bro.
The red truck.
So we're gonna get into that. I think episode 3. We're gonna kind of introduce his character. So Art is my dad, and I'm sure we'll bring him on. We could probably even include him in a Skype or something
Love
to
you,
get him
Artie.
here. Yep, and he'll probably watch these every now and again. But it's. I don't even know where to start with him, just because of everything that has happened and he's done. The ups and the good and the bad. You know what I mean? The good and the bad. Like, the good thing about having a dad like him was, the rules were very lax, right?
Yeah.
Because he didn't set standards for himself either, because he was still living with his mom and dad, which were my grandparents.
Yeah.
And he's just a different animal,
I mean, I'm majority bring him up right now because we're talking about paths,
right?
And we're talking about the past, and our upbringing is always is a bunch of fun, and I mean, good and bad,
Right.
good and bad, and to have a male role model or male figure at that time,
somebody to look up to. Right.
Art had multiple different paths, which brought us to the paths that we are,
right.
Which we're always excited to bring him up.
Right, and I actually said this at my grandpa's funeral. When he died, I got up in front of everybody, and then I was kind of like, my grandpa and my dad are two completely different people, and I was like, my grandpa showed me what was right, and my dad showed me what was wrong. And now from there, I'm able to figure it out in between. You know what I mean? So you just need 2 people in your life, or not even 2 people. You just need one person in your life that you can look up to, and you can kind of make decisions based on their prior decisions. And you saw their outcomes, so you know kind of where you sit with your outcomes and when things come to fruition with you. You know what I mean?
True. Definitely true. I mean, it's things that they both did,
Yeah.
that were very interesting, and whatever you took out of it is what you got out of it. I always say, I forgot who I was talking to the other day. I said, me and my brother lived in the same household, and how our perspectives are too different.
Right.
Even though that's my brother now, at a certain time, I like to drink. I like to drink alcohol, and my brother doesn't. Mm-hmm. And we saw his father as an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. So what was the difference? If we both saw the same thing, I chose to do it and he doesn't. You know what I mean? And it's the path
that you guys chose. You guys chose separate paths, right?
Yeah.
And it didn't make you any less of a person or any different than him, because we are who we are, and that's ultimately we can make our own decisions.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's cool and unique about the world, is that people can make their own decisions based on prior events that have happened, or based on somebody else's prior events that have happened. That's kind of how our legal system works. Based on people's past actions, laws are created. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So, and it's just crazy that the world works like that. It's crazy to think about that.
Dude, tell us a good story of, or not, it could be any story that we actually say is a good story. Tell us something that, like, you remember from, like, the summertime, like us being, like, teenagers. Do you got anything? And then I can go in.
All right, let's see. So, oh man, teenage times. Woo-wee. All right.
I mean, it could be.
So back on Fairville. Name of the show, by the way. Fairville. Man, so many things went down. But the one thing that kind of stands out is it's a story. I was still going to John Marshall. This is before I quit school. Okay. And I quit school, but I was still supposed to attend.
School.
I was still in school, but I didn't go. Anyway, so we had this giant party at the Fairville house. Right?
Oh, I remember
300 people in the yard. We were on a corner lot, so we had to wrap around driveway and everything, man. And my mom and her boyfriend went to Cedar Point for the night, supposedly, right? Well, come to find out later on, they snuck back and caught us, but we'll get to that. So we're calling up everybody from the school. We're letting people know at school, handing out flyers and shit. Hey, come to this house party. Bam, 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 bam. We didn't think nobody was going to show up, bro.
Yeah.
Come what time was it? Maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock, bro.
5 o'clock.
Oh, my God. Just crowds of people showing up.
I mean, the yard was full.
It was for real.
The front yard was full.
It was for real.
Inside the house was full.
Yes. Everywhere you went, it was full, man. We didn't even have chairs for people to sit down.
Everyone standing up. It was hot, though. It wasn't
cold.
Yeah.
It was a nice day out, man. Everyone was chilling, having a good time, drinking, doing this and that.
Smirnoff.
Yeah, back in the day, what was there? There wasn't no Trulia. There wasn't no Trulia. None of that stuff.
No.
It was either a Smirnoff, a Budweiser. Bud Light was around.
Maybe a Hard Mike.
Yeah, Hard Mike. Mike
You
Hard.
know?
Yeah.
Natty possibly. I mean, I don't know if we were drinking like that.
And if you were a scroungy dude, and if you didn't decide to go to school and you had a little bit of money, you could probably get some Bush. You know what I mean? Some Bush 30 pack.
Definitely. A nice 30
Man.
pack. We had that at the party.
Yeah, we
definitely
did.
had that at the party. And mind you, everyone was minors. Statute of limitation, hey, it's way over 10 years.
Hey, for real.
Way over 10
For real. So anyway, man, and all these people at the party showing up, man. I'm in the house like, damn, I didn't think this many people was coming. So I started putting up barriers and shit in the house to keep people out of the restricted areas, you know?
VIP only.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, let me just block this off and shit. Because people was just cruising through the house like, hey, this your mom's room? Just drinking up some shit. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. You know? So I closed that up. And then all of a sudden, I used to play baseball at Gunning back in the day. And my first baseman, Robert Moody, showed up, man. And he was like, hey, man, I got a problem with one of them bulls
Shout out
outside.
to you.
Yeah, what's up, Rob? And he was like, hey, man, I got a problem with one of them dudes out there in the yard. I'm like, all right, man, well, don't do nothing in the house, all right? So next thing I know, man, we're all outside drinking, having a good time. And then I don't really remember what happened. I mean, I know the kid that got knocked the fuck out. But I don't remember. Do you remember what like how it happened?
I don't specifically remember, but I know segments of that day because I also was drinking at that time and entertaining, you know,
Right.
making sure people were in line, that they weren't going through the house
Right.
as much as they should have been, you know.
Right.
And I remember it was on the outside of the fence, so it wasn't inside
Right.
of your
The backyard.
The backyard.
Yeah.
It was actually by the driveway.
By the garage area, yeah.
And you know, the kid was out there talking, and Rob was out there as well. I heard a smack, and I also seen a dent
Yeah, yeah.
in the fence.
Yeah.
And that kid went to sleep.
Yeah, he did, man. Hey, that was crazy.
He went to sleep, and he didn't know who he was. He didn't know who anybody was. As a matter of fact, he nicknamed himself
The TKO.
TKO. How the fuck do you get knocked out
And name yourself
and
TKO.
name yourself TKO? And to the point that the kid was, this is back when airbrushing was something. He came to school with
Oh, man.
pants on that had TKO in it and wanted swag for it. He wanted some clout, you
Yeah.
would say, from it. I've never heard of someone getting knocked out. And
Dude.
I mean, in UFC, boxing,
Yeah, and then
bar
bragging
fights,
about it.
anywhere.
Hey, yo, I fought this dude. I was moving, bobbing, and weaving, and then I got knocked out, yo.
And it should have been I was talking shit, and out of nowhere a right fist haymaker went
popped me right in the eye.
and knocked my ass the fuck out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was crazy, man. That was crazy.
I mean, but that's not always, you know, I mean, there's way more stories of people getting knocked out. There's more stories of people getting jumped. There's more stories about, I mean, because our group was, we had so many people. It was so many people. I mean, if you were back in the day around our time, around, I would say maybe around that time, it might have been 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
If you seen 30 kids going up the street, that was usually a part of our team.
Yeah, and who we rock with, man.
And
you know?
we were friendly with everyone.
Yeah.
And some people made themselves the ops, and I don't know why. It didn't make any sense.
I don't know why they do that stuff, man.
I'm not looking for no one. They're not looking for me. Everyone's great, but I don't really understand why you would want to go against anyone in the circle. But yeah, man, that's a really good story.
Yeah, hey. You know, that was one of the craziest parties that I've really ever been to, man.
Your own party. Your own
My own
party. No, Joe. We didn't have some parties.
No, we did.
We did have some parties.
We
But
did.
that definitely was one of those parties
that definitely was a good one, man.
You choose your own path.
That's right. Hey, the moral of this story today, choose your own path.
Choose your own path the right way, okay?
Yeah.
Don't be on the right side of someone's fist. Be on the right side of looking at someone go down.
All right, guys. Hey, that's all the time we have for today. We appreciate you guys stopping by. Be nasty.
Hey, be nasty, baby.
Be nasty. We'll talk to you guys.
Joe.